We're talking about the Retrobat Arcade software in today's video, and I'm going to show you 5 things about the software that I just love. Welcome back to the Underground Arcade. My name is Bronson and I'm in the process of building my own arcade here in a shed on my property. Pretty excited about it. We're just getting started. And a few videos ago, some of you may have seen, I picked up this sort of DIY homemade arcade cabinet. It's a widescreen, it's got a 32-inch TV in it. I picked this up for $70. It was someone's unfinished project. We did a whole video on it, which I'll link up here if you want to go and check it. But deal of the century, I reckon. Beautiful cabinet. It doesn't need much except a bit of paint, and it needed some software. So we've done a couple of videos on this. We did a video where we looked at the cabinet, and then we did another video where we installed Retrobat. So if you want to know how to install Retrobat, I'll link that up here and in the description. This video is going to be all about the things that I love about Retrobat. Number one on the list is how simple it is to install. Like I said, I'm running RetroPie on a Raspberry Pi on another cabinet, so that has a Linux, based operating system similar to Batocera. You've got to then flash the Linux on. It gets a little bit complicated. RetroPie was really simple to install. Basically went to the website, downloaded it, unzipped it. It doesn't even install a program. You just unzip it to a directory, and then in Windows you can see all the folders, and you basically copy ROMs across those folders. You can be up and running with this on an old computer, an old Windows box in 15 minutes maybe. I think I spent longer trying to think of the ROMs, like pick out the ROMs I wanted to download, than I did actually installing the software. So again, I'll link that video if you want to go and watch it on how to install it. I'll link that down the bottom. But I think, just being Windows based, being a really simple download. This software also does require a few extra supporting packages like the C++, Microsoft C++ regist packages. But it goes out and it downloads those for you. So if you're missing .NET, it'll go out and download it for you. So the installer for Retrobat is really cool. You just kind of set it, forget it. It's a next, okay installer. It's really nice. The second thing I really love is the interface out of the box. It is really smart. You don't need to tweak it too much, although you can. But basically, it kind of starts off small. So if you loaded up Retrobat without any ROMs, without any games, you kind of just get a couple of menus. And then as you add ROMs to the ROMs folder, the menu builds out. So if you just added some Master System games, for example, to the ROMs folder, you would see the Sega Master System menu, and you see the number of games there. But then if you added some Mega Drive games or some PlayStation 1 games, you'll see more and more menus appear, so it kind of builds out. Now, one other neat thing you can do is under each ROM menu, you can change the game list view style. So by default, it's on automatic, and it kind of gives you a tiled look of all your games. I guess similar to like how Netflix would look or something like that. But one view that I really like is the detailed view. And what the detailed view gives you, if I turn that on here, it gives you a list on the left of the games and then a bit of artwork on the right and details of the game down below it. It's kind of a neat looking interface, but you can customize that per ROM. So you can have different sort of menu styles depending on your emulation type. One other really neat thing is the bezel. So this is a widescreen cabinet, 32 inches like I said, but a lot of games aren't widescreen games, right? So if you select a game that is made for a square CRT monitor back in the day, what Retrobat will actually do is add some artwork around the sides of the screen. It adds like a bezel to the screen with neat pictures in the background. Like if you're playing PlayStation 1, it looks like a PlayStation 1 console in behind it. Some of the arcade games, you can see like renderings or pictures of an arcade, like other cabinets behind it. So it does kind of look neat rather than just having 2 black bars down the screen, which looks a bit terrible. It actually gives you some neat artwork. All that's out of the box. You don't need to touch anything, change anything. It just appears, it figures it out. The third thing I really like is the scraping. So if we look at the detailed view that we were just talking about before, say if I load Sega Master System and I go into the games, you'll see it's got a cool list on the left, but it's not showing anything on the right, just a random disc picture. And it's saying unknown down the bottom about, where the game was from, when it was released, all that sort of stuff. Now, one cool feature of Retrobat is the scraping. So what scraping will do is once you've loaded some ROMs on, it'll go out onto the internet and it'll try and scrape information about that. It'll try and find the image for the game. It'll try and find the history for the game, when it was released, all that good stuff, and it'll load it automatically for you. So what you can do is press the menu button and we can come into Scraper. And if we hit Scraper, we'll see where do we want to scrape from, and it shows the games database by default. We have a few other places we can scrape from that are all just basically databases of, kind of like IMDb is for movies, these are the IMDb of games, right? So if you've got a preference, you can scrape there. And then we're basically games to scrape for. We can scrape for any games with missing media, and we can just hit scrape now. And this will go out onto the internet, it'll scrape down and it'll get all this beautiful data, and then your games list will start looking a whole lot better. The fourth thing I love about Retrobat is the music. Just turn that off because I've got a bit of a dodgy amp in this cabinet that I need to fix up. But yeah, once you turn Retrobat on, it just starts playing music, and it's got this kind of funky playlist of like just old school arcade sounding music. When you go into a game, the music will fade out, and when you come out of a game, the music will fade back in automatically, and so when you're scrolling through menus, you've just got cool music playing. The other neat thing is you can actually go into the resources folder, I believe, retrobat/system/resources/music, and you can add your own songs. So if you're not happy with, you know, whatever's playing there, the arcade music, and you want death metal playing while while you're browsing the menus, you can copy songs into that folder. It'll just pick them up automatically and it'll add them to the playlist. Pretty cool feature. The fifth thing that I really love about Retrobat is that there are some cool advanced features if you're a bit of a purist when it comes to playing games. So this is fine set up out of the box for my children, but as I start to go down the rabbit hole of arcade games, there are settings that you kind of want to turn on, or settings you want to play with, or you're reading forums where people are saying, if you're going to play XYZ, then you need to play it with these settings to be authentic, right? Or to be as close as possible to the original experience. These are settings like run ahead or black frame insertion, where it kind of fixes up or makes it feel more authentic by sort of changing your frame rate, because obviously the frame rate and the hertz that this big monitor's running at, this is a 32-inch TV. That's not how the games were designed to be played, right? They weren't designed to be played on a 32-inch widescreen Sony TV or whatever it is. So there are a bunch of advanced features in there. There are lots of menus and features you can change, settings you can change to get your games to be more authentic. Things like, say for example, you've got a game that you play in MAME that you want on a specific MAME core version. This is a whole bunch of different MAME cores that it supports, and you can either let Retrobat try and figure that out, so load the game with the right core, or you can specifically say, I want this ROM to load with this core. So out of the box, really good for beginners, but then as you kind of get more strange and weird and rabbit holey about your arcade setup, you can change all those settings as well. All in all, I think this is the best piece of software I've used to date. Like I said, I've used a few others. They haven't been as straightforward as this. They don't look as good as this. So I think if you are a beginner like me and you're just getting stuck into arcade games, you want something really simple out of the box, not too hard to install, something you want to chuck on an old Windows PC, right? Retrobat is pretty good. So I'll leave a link to their website as well. It's free software, so you can just Google Retrobat, but I'll leave a link down below to the software. If you've got any questions, if you're stuck, if you need help with anything, you want to know how to install it, all that good stuff, let me know in the comments and we can have a discussion there. Let me know what you think about Retrobat. Is there something better I should be trying in a future video? Or should I stick with Retrobat for the time being? If you'd love to join me on my quest to build my own home arcade, hit that subscribe button, maybe go back and watch an old video, leave some comments. All that sort of stuff is free for you to do, and it does help me out on the channel. And thanks to everyone who's joined recently. We had a little surge in subscribers, which is quite nice because we're obviously a tiny channel at the moment. We're going to do lots more videos around software, around emulation. We're also going to look at other cabinets. I'd love to get into pinball machines one day. That's obviously a pipe dream. I checked my wallet. There's no pinball money in my wallet at the moment. That's a pipe dream for years down the track, but we are going to spend the next few years just kind of building out a neat arcade, some old cabinets, some old, retro. I'd love to get into some CRT monitors as well, keep it real retro. We're going to look at some old consoles as well. I want to do a PlayStation 1 Time Crisis setup to show the kids Time Crisis. That was a game that I really loved as a kid. I also want to do a Commodore 64 setup as well, maybe some old Sega setups as well. So lots coming, lots of retro gaming arcades. If that's a bit of you, hit that subscribe button and I'll see you in the next video.